Yeah. So the recording is on now. The question is, what is the correlation between ahimsa and satya? What takes priority? Very relevant question. Patanjali, in his prescription of Ashtanga Yoga, the very first element is yam. So yam is our, how do we interact with others? Of course, interaction is by an action. If I am reading a book which is to gain knowledge, I am not quite affecting others, is it not? So, you know it, we have five sensory organs to acquire knowledge, and we have five motor organs for action, what is called karma. And in our 24 hours every day, we are engaged either in acquisition of knowledge or action or both. You know, even if I am walking, seemingly I am in action mode, but I am seeing through my eyes. I save myself from pitfalls. So sometimes knowledge and action are together. But knowledge and action are two domains of our functioning. And I think we have discussed last time that as a conscious being, my consciousness, that self, has three extraordinary powers, is it not? Ability to know and to experience an event and to act upon my surroundings. So Sanskrit term is jnana, bhog and karma. And that is true for animals and birds also. But for human beings, there are threefold pursuits in the sense jnana, karma and upasana. So upasana is what meditation is expected to lead me to. Disconnection from body and mind and being with that supreme being, that is upasana. So jnana and karma are worldly functions which, when I use the assets, instruments of body and mind, and when I wish to go in upasana, must get disconnected from both body and mind. So anyway, the question relates to our two dimensions of functioning, namely jnana and karma, knowledge and action. So the question is, what is more important or what has to have priority between ahimsa and satya? Satya has a wider connotation. That is, even in the knowledge dimension, I am obviously interested in knowing all that is happening around me truthfully. Certain things I cannot see through my eyes, then I call somebody, what is happening in your city? Is it not? Because I am myself not able to see it. But when I ask him, I am implicitly relying on him that he will speak truthfully, is it not? Otherwise, that information has no meaning. So I always want to know what is the true picture through my five senses. So when it comes to knowledge acquisition, satya is not only important, it has to be truthful. Otherwise, it is not worth knowing, is it not? And as a human being, we want to go beyond the visible events to the invisible forces. Like we discussed last time, yes, I can see a wooden desk. And this particular desk, I didn't see the carpenter making it, but I still, with my intellectual faculty, I conclude that a human being, namely a carpenter, must have made this desk. And when I say it, it is a truthful statement, is it not? So, in our day-to-day functioning, I want to know what is truthfully true. And also, as a scientific inquiry, as what a scientist does or what a philosopher does, I want to know truth beyond even the visible events. Is it not? What are the laws governing the natural forces, gravitational force? Why the earth is moving around like this? I want to know two principles that makes things function the way it functions. Why did this happen? How does that happen? Why is it raining? How does the water gets vaporized? What is that Clausius-Clapeyron equation? And even though it is not a boiling point, how is it vaporizing at a lower temperatures? And then those water vapors, why do they go up? What is their molecular weight? Okay, H2O is 16, oxygen is 32, so it is lighter. So, as a scientist, he wants to know everything. What are the two principles that govern it? So that way, Satya has very wide connotation. All that I want to know has to be truthful. But Satya is interesting that it has a connotation in the action also, is it not? As I said, I will call my friend, ask him what is the climate in your city, then I expect him to be truthful. So from his point of view, it is action, and at my end, as a receiving end, for this it is knowledge, is it not? When I hear his words, for me it is knowledge, for him it is action. And of course, we have this flexibility or freedom that even though I know what I must do, what is called my dharma, I can also be making a false statement, untrue statements. When I am filling a tax form, maybe I can reduce some figures, is it not? So we have these temptations. So truth, when it comes to Satya, it has both connotation of knowledge as well as action. Now the guideline to us is nahi satyat paro dharma, for example. That is Manu's state. Manu is saying there is no dharma beyond truthfulness. What does he mean? He means to say, now we are talking action mode. In action mode, we have two statements. One is nahi satyat paro dharma from Manu. And another is from Patanjali Yam. He is listing 5 injunctions, namely ahimsa, satya, aste, vamchaya, apayagya. In our philosophy, this sequence is very important. You cannot read it that satya is first, ahimsa is later. No. He is saying ahimsa is first. So, in his case, what is he trying to say? Ahimsa is paramo dharma, is the dharma supreme, so to say. Because he is now talking in action mode. So Patanjali's injunction of yam is how we should interact with all the people in the society. He is saying ahimsa is supreme. Now the question is ahimsa more important or satya more important? So first I have already described satya has wider connotation, both knowledge and action. So Satya is slightly, you have to see it from different lens. When you are in acquisition mode, knowledge acquisition, you are not doing ahimsa at that time, is it not? Ahimsa is, now let me say, ahimsa, this is a good question. The questioner has put the term ahimsa because in English, usually it is translated as non-violence, which is a misunderstanding, misconception to that extent, I will say. Ahimsa, the right way to translate into English is, it is difficult to translate, but sometimes you have to translate to convey it to English knowing person. Then I will say, not to hurt others. Not to hurt others. is a better way to translate than saying non-violence. Because you can hurt somebody without being violent also, is it not? You can, as a con man, you can lure somebody into some sort of a cheating and you have taken away his money. You have hurt him, is it not? But you are not violent, is it not? So, ahimsa also has a very wide connotation. If you translate it properly as not to hurt others, but of course it is in action mode. Now, even in action mode, one could say ahimsa is first, even or satya is first, like Manu has said. Because if you look at satya also, if something is painful to you, say there is a knife, somebody hits me with a knife, it causes pain to me, is it not? Then I will say, I don't want to put this knife on any human being, or for that matter, even on an animal, because he will also feel the pain. So, feeling the pain is a truthful realization for me. And I don't want truthfully to cause pain to anybody else by any means. So, when I follow the principle of truthfulness, I will not hit him, is it not? If I follow the principle of truthfulness, I will not steal somebody's money because I know if somebody steals my money, I don't feel good. So he will also not feel good. If somebody sees my daughter, my sister, my wife, my mother inappropriately, I don't like it. So I will also not do that to any other woman, is it not? So, if I follow truthfulness in true letter and spirit, then I will be doing no wrongdoing. Because nahi satyat parodha. Also, if I follow ahimsa totally, that ahimsa, I don't want to hurt anybody, then also I will never do anything wrong, is it not? Because if I say somebody a lie, a untrue statement, I am hurting him. If I take away somebody's money, I am hurting him. If I am looking at a woman inappropriately, I am hurting her and her brothers and all the relatives. I hurt them. So I will not. So when it comes to action mode, Satya and Ahimsa are two sides of the same coin. It just depends which way you look at it, is it not? So Ahimsa Paramo Dharma is also a very correct statement. And Manu's statement, Nahi Satyat Paro Dharma, is also a very really correct statement. So that was the answer. The question was, what is the correlation between Ahimsa and Satya, and what takes priority? Is there any other question? Otherwise, on talking about action, I have a question from the last week, Monday. The question goes like this. There are several types of things in the context of action, what philosophy of karma is. Karma is a philosophical statement, like I am drinking some water. If I drink water, it is a karma, it is an action. But seemingly it doesn't affect others, is it not? It's a very personal thing. So it is not quite karma from the point of view of law of karma. It is just a mere activity, is it not? So karma is a technical term in our philosophy that affects others one way or another, directly or indirectly, at this moment or slightly later. And then it will come back to me in terms of law of karma, is it not? So karma is a technical term, and we are in the context of, in that context, the question is asked. Then there are several possibilities are mentioned here. Number one, sometimes we do bad action with bad intentions, where, like a criminal is going for a murder, rape, or burglary or something where he knows, in deep in his own mind, he knows this is a wrongful action. And his intention is this. He knows it, knowingly he's doing it. To gain, make some personal quick gain, is it not? So that is a possibility that somebody does a wrongful action and is very well aware of it with very bad intentions, is it not? That is, by any account, by any universal standards, everybody will say that is a bad karma and it will bring bad rewards in terms of pain in his life. But that gestation period may be zero, may be long, maybe super long, maybe not even in this life, some other life. But definitely it will be there. That is what we are told. And we indeed see in this world that all sorts of rewards come to us. We don't know exactly which karma is bringing what reward at this stage of our life, is it not? So this is a bad karma, bad intention, very clear. The second possibility is bad outcomes without intentions. I did not have bad intention, but it was a accidental. Something happened. Seemingly, I am the cause of it, but I didn't cause it really, knowingly. Is it not? We get into all. And as a gentleman, we just say sorry at that point. And the other person also knows it. But it could be a very drastic outcome, somebody's death. You were driving carefully, but a child somehow runs fast. You were within the speed limit, but somehow just things didn't go the way they should have gone, and the child has been hit, badly injured, or whatever it is. So the intention was not bad, but outcome is bad, is it not? So of course, even in the law of the land, all these considerations are there, is it not? And I must say at this point, anything human being has made is always in the image of the universal law. Like we have these light sources, they are in the image of the sun. So I say it in the context of law of land. Every government, local, federal, or state, or whatever it is, they have certain law of the land. That is also in the image of the law of karma. Though our image is never 100% correct. So what I am trying to say is, for certain bad actions, sometimes the law of land may give him punishment. Sometimes the murderer may be able to walk away, is it not? No detective can catch him. But still, the law of karma will act upon it. So, if the law of land works slightly insufficiently under the reference line or over the reference line, then law of karma will adjust. Law of karma is very wide. That law has very wide possibility that will make its own adjustments. But when we talk of law of land, the law enforcement agency, the justice system, everybody has to play its role. They also have to function in the correct manner because it is for them they are being tested. Are they performing their actions properly or not? Is it not? When the judgment is to be awarded to a criminal. So when the intention is not bad, but outcome is bad, there is a lot of leniency. And of course, law of land is not perfect, but law of karma will take care of all that imperfection and will be perfect. That because that is a supreme being, there is nothing but perfection there. We may not understand it. Now, inaction when action is needed. This is a very good question. Very good question. Very important also. Because when it comes to philosophy of karma, at any given option, circumstances, We have infinite options. And one option always is not to perform. In Sanskrit, we say kartum, akartum, na kartum. Kartum is exactly doing what my duty is at that point of time. Akartum is opposite of that. So kartum is like what we will say my dharma. Dharma is not religion, my righteous conduct, which will be universally acclaimed, is it not? What is good for all, everybody will say this was right. Sometimes as a human being, that is the way we are human being, different from others because of the freedom. I can do, even though I know my dharma, I can do opposite to it. And sometimes I can overlook a situation and not act at all. This is the possibility number 3 here. I'll give an example. Say we are on the street walking, or we are I'm driving a car, and it's lonely. It's that kind of a time. Nobody is there. Very light traffic. But suddenly a motorcycle person falls down. He has an accident. Now, I know my duty is to call 911 or take him to a nearest emergency hospital. That is kartum. Opposite of this is nobody is seeing me. I can go to him, he's unconscious. I can take away his money, his cards, his many things, phone and all that, and go away. Everybody will say that is bad, is it not? So first was kartum or kartum. And the third option is I just ignore as if nothing has happened, though I have seen it. I have seen him falling, but I say, I don't want to get into all this. I have to rush for something and I ignore the event that has taken place. So, not this is inaction. But in Vedic philosophy of karma, it is there are 3 and this is multiple. You can think of in between possibilities. But when it comes to law of karma, there are only 2, dharma and adharma. So inaction will go into adharma, is it not? So you may say, I don't want to get into these worldly things, let somebody come, somebody else will do that. But no, in the eyes of the lawmaker, law enforcer of law of karma we are talking about, this is inaction is coming under the purview of adharma. Not as bad as stealing his money and phone, etc., but still not doing the action at the right time. So that is also the fourth possibility was bad thoughts but not becoming action. So here it is, I am not doing any action, but you have ill thoughts about others, is it not? Sometimes we think bad about others, though we may not do harm to him. So we haven't done any harm to him, but since we are harboring in our mind negative thoughts, this itself brings a reward, and we know it. We are all mature people here. If we have bad thoughts about others, our mind gets crooked, gets corrupt, is it not? And that is immediate reward of our bad thoughts. We become a negative person. Even our face is not that pleasant, is it not? If somebody is always on the negative side, he is not a pleasant person, and he is himself loaded with all sorts of negativities that affects his health, brings more stress, anxiety, and all sorts of negativities. And nowadays there is a lot of awareness about that, and people recommend meditation, etc., to come out of this negativity, is it not? So this is bad actions, though in the worldly sense it is not translated into visible actions, but still, action is aggregate of thoughts, words, and actions. Mansa vacha karmana. So even if I speak, bad to somebody, that hurts to somebody, that also is negative karma, is it not? So, negative thought may not seemingly look like I am harming others, but I am harming myself, and I am myself getting into such a corner that one day I will begin to harm others. Even my family will not like the sort of negativity I am falling into, is it not? So, in this question, they are related to karma. They are related to four different possibilities, but we have discussed them. While on this topic, I would like to say that's the beauty of the Vedic philosophy. And since I always, because I am so much in the meditation, upasana, and all that, anything I think somehow that comes out, I utter those words. So I want to say here, in our way of looking at the things, the way we have been guided by our philosophers like Kapil, author of Sankhya, Patanjali, author of Yoga Darshan, etc., they have told us there are basically three kinds of people in the world. That is based on action. So I am just supplementing this question to give another picture, because the actions have, karma have another possibility, which we did not talk last Monday, though we discussed a lot about law of karma. So I want to bring it one more aspect. So there is a statement in Sankhya that there are three categories of people. They are basically, they are termed as Manushya is average, then on the negative side is Rakshas, and on the positive side is Devata. This is due to these categories are based on the action, karma, not knowledge. Knowledge wise, somebody may have PhD and very high, but still he may be a Rakshas, is it not? So, based on this is classification or categorization is based on action, how I affect others. Last time, if I remember, or because there are so many sessions, I get mixed up. No, not in this particular session. But we have to remember that because the birth and death is cyclic, so the fact that I have been born in this world is because in my mind there are certain deposits. Those deposit is called karmashaya, because I have performed some karma prior to my birth in this life, and they have not yet reached their gestation period, and they have to get their rewards ever, is it not? So I must have by birth, so that that ledger book thing balance has to be brought to zero. Otherwise, there is always life after birth, after death, and so on and so forth. Now the question is, I start my life with some deposits that is called karmasha. There is another term for that in Patanjali's philosophy and Sankhya. That term is called klesh. Klesh is like avidya, which is wrong knowledge. And one wrong knowledge is, which we seemingly all of us have, that we think our mind is our ultimate seat of consciousness and not the self inside. So we care a lot for our body and mind. Don't bother about who I am, the self really, who is the owner of body. Anyway, so there is some clash, and that clash is ignorance. And based on my past actions, I have certain cravings. We all desire certain things, etc., etc. So those are certain deposits. That's why I was born here. Now, as I have been born, the average human being, under the influence of clash, wants to get away from all that is painful, and if possible, increase his joy and pleasure, happiness, is it not? So we want to minimize our dukh, and if possible, get more sukh. That is what every one of us. Nothing wrong in this. That is what as a child we have been doing, and as we grow up this. If we do it legitimately, without hurting others, then I am a nice person, is it not? And that is what is the average Manushya. Average may not be exactly that 50% people are in this category, but most of the good people are in this category. Now, this, if this is average, there is a downslide. Downslide in the sense, now the person has become adult, he is smart, he thinks he is smart. Now he is, to gain his sukh, he is willing to harm others, is it not? He goes downslide. That is what we talked in terms of satya and ahimsa and dharma, etc. So he is compromising. And then this is downslide, is it? Now, which we have already discussed in the previous question, two questions we have handled today. Now I want to tell you something about the upper, the Devata part, which hasn't come in these questions. That's why I started this topic. Now, this is a very unusual person who is not guided by the worldly pleasures of life, is it not? We all know it. There are some people, they are just doing their duty and they have no interest in its rewards. Though they are not idiots. They also know good karma brings its reward, but they just don't bother about it. Isn't it? Most of us, we are working to get a paycheck at the end of the month, is it not? But there are many things we do, say at home, or we are a volunteer elsewhere, where we do certain actions, we are performing karma without expecting anything in return, is it not? And most visibly visible part of our life is when I get married and become my mother or father, is it not? That is why there is a statement in Upanishad, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava. As a mother, I become a Devta, or as a father, I become. Why? At that time, I work hard for my child. I am doing all the good dharma for him, but I am not expecting anything in return, is it not? So, this is another kind of karma, which in philosophy of Patanjali is called Ashukla Akrishna. Neither bad, neither white nor black. These are blacks, this is white, but this is neither white nor black, or what we call Nishkam karma, is it not? Here I give you an example that is very easy for us to understand it. Say there is a child and mother in a household. Mother tells a child, she is trying to train her child, 5-year-old child, go to your room and set everything right. Manage it well. I will come and inspect it. He is slightly hesitating. He enjoys being with mother, playing here and there. Then she says, okay, you do that, I will give you a candy. Then he goes, does it, comes back, the mother gives him a candy. Very good. He is happy. Mother is also happy. She has trained him in a good thing. But look at the similar second household where the same sort of a child and mother, the mother says this and child quietly goes there and does all that, comes back. No reward was specified to him and the mother gives him no reward, no candy. If we ask the second child, why did you do it? He will say, my mother asked me to do it. He has a relationship with his mother. For him, his mother's word was last word, and he's so dedicated, he just did it for his mother, is it not? So here is another example where one child does it with an eye on the reward, but another child does it without an eye on the reward. Now you translate this mother-child to, I am the child and that is my supreme mother, is it not? So when I do something just because I am so much connected to her. I say that this is why she has sent me into this world and she expects me to perform like this. So I elevate myself as if, no, I am not my father's son, my mother. I am the son of that Supreme Father and Supreme. And I am his agent, her agent. I am her ambassador in this world. So I will function in his image. I will not do anything which is wrongful in his eyes, is it not? So this sort of surrender and dedication is called Ishwar Pranidhan, is it not? In Patanjali's philosophy. So here I wanted to make, there are a lot of instances have been discussed in philosophy of karma, but this is also a very interesting thing to know that many of us, we become mature enough, and that is what is business of all these Vedic principles, to get enlightened, be aware of there are certain also laws of the nature, is it not? They also function in this world. And if I align myself with those principles, I will have a better quality of life. Because when I am in her shadow, just like a child is in mother's lap, that is a very different kind of joy and happiness, is it not? If I am in her shadow, that will be a different quality of life. That's what we want people to taste it, is it not? So Upasana gives you, of course, deep sleep is good. That comes to us as default, where the taste is there, but it's slightly distant mode. In real time, I can have that taste in Upasana, in meditating. And when I am succeeding in that, I will automatically be rising upward, is it not? So in Vedic, in the jargon of meditation, we don't give a lot of motivational speech. We just say, you devote 15-20 minutes a day in Upasana, being in the lap of that Supreme Mother. Because we know it, that magic will transform this person into this category, is it not? So Satya, Ahimsa, just one word is enough for your life, and you don't even need a word of philosophy. You just become like that. That is the magic of that mother's touch, is it not? So I think we have discussed a number of aspects related to philosophy of karma, which is very, very important. And we are so fortunate that we have a part of the Vedic legacy and heritage that can educate us on all this. This is very complex law. But, like Sankhya makes a statement which is almost like Heisenberg's principle of uncertainty. Like like Heisenberg's principle says, a tiny particle, either you can know its velocity or its mass, not both at a time. It is theoretically impossible. In the same way, Kapil is saying it is impossible to know at this point what reward or what actions I am obtaining, is it not? It is impossible because that karmasha is coming from lives and lives, thousands of lives in the past. So law of karma, how does it function? How Patanjali and his commentator Vyas, that is a very complex topic. If some other day maybe I will try to explain it. I have to make sketches and diagrams because it's very complex. So maybe some other time. But let's open it out. There is one more thing. Here, is it okay to lie if the intention is not to hurt others? Very good question. This is also, this is a dharma sankat kind of a situation. Apad dharma, what is called. This is a classic example is given that you are in your house front garden, something like that. In front of you is a street or is a village lane, so to say, and a cow has run away from this side to that side. And then you have seen at an intersection, the cow took a left turn. And then a butcher is coming with a big sword and knife, and he is asking you, where did the cow go? Now, if you say truthfully, then that innocent cow is going to get killed. And if you want to save that cow, you have to make a false statement. You have to say a lie, is it not? So he is, that spectator is confronted with a very difficult scenario. What is important? Satya or ahimsa? So the same question that is now being posed through a metaphor, and you can feel it in the circumstances, it does become a very high prerogative. But again, the philosopher is saying that seemingly, of course, you will misdirect him, thinking if you are follower of ahimsa. But then also, there is a consolation, because that is what is your truthful action, because truth requires you to save the innocent cow's life, is it not? So, speaking a lie is also Satya Dharma at that point of time. So, it becomes a complex situation. In the same manner, I will pose another question. Say, our defense forces is at the border and an enemy forces are advancing. Now, our commander in chief will give him an order, kill the enemy forces. Now, killing the enemy forces is not ahimsa, is it not? So our soldier is asking, are you asking me to do hinsa? Is it not? So the commander will explain to him, yes, you should obey my orders, because what is seemingly is hinsa, killing the enemy, is actually ahimsa, because if you let the enemy forces come in, they will do a lot of harm, they will cause a lot of pain to our population, is it not? So to save our population from the future harm that enemy forces would cause, it's better to kill that enemy, is it not? So ahimsa and satya are intertwined, really. It is just, as I said, two sides of the same coin. They don't contradict each other. They go hand in hand. Any other question? We have some 15 minutes more.
So I had a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Um, yeah, so in the current situation of COVID, how can we use the Vedic principles to make sense of everything that's going on? Especially when you kind of think about, why are only certain people getting more affected? Are there like a special law of karma comes into play in such a wide event worldwide?
Yeah, very good question, because as I said, the whole subject of karma and law of karma is highly complex. So, like something has happened somewhere, starting with a city in China, Wuhan, and of course, somebody has done something wrong. Either somebody has eaten some wrong stuff, uh, bats or snakes or cats or dogs or whatever it is. And as we know it, the human cycle, as such, I am personally of the view that we are naturally herbivores. And even as a herbivore, if some of us becomes meat eaters, carnivores, or both, they eat this as well as that. But generally, in the animal kingdom, a lion is a carnivore. They survive only on meat and not on grass, not on plant. But some human beings, they want best of both the worlds. So they eat meat as well as vegetables, fruit grain, and fruits also. Just their convenient way of thinking. But I will not speak much about this, whether human beings are naturally herbivores or carnivores. But my position, maybe on some other occasion, I will describe it, why I think we are, by nature's design, we are herbivores. But this situation has arisen that some human beings have gone to carnivores. Even a carnivore typically eats herbivores, like a lion, tiger. They are predators. Their prey is something like a zebra, deer, and things like that. But if they don't eat a fox or hyenas or other carnivores, unless it is a very extraordinary situation. So here there is a situation that somebody in China, and I understand in that part of the world, there are some more countries where such practices are followed, not by the entire population, but a significant fraction of population, that they eat the animals and other species who are not herbivores, such as cats, dogs, bats, snakes. These terms I have heard, you know, though we don't know how reliable this information is. And as we know it, if we eat, say, as a herbivore, then there is a whole process of digestion system and intestines, etc. So, there is so-called nitrogen equilibrium. Nitrogen is consumed and then is also thrown away. So there are certain cycles where we consume basically carbohydrates and certain other chemicals as fats and protein besides carbohydrate. But other things are trying to maintain certain balance. This balance system is very important in the understanding of the nature. For example, in the atmosphere, we love oxygen a lot, is it not? Because that is our respiratory system demand, you know. But oxygen is only one fifth in the air. The major part is nitrogen. So somebody say, what the hell is nitrogen is doing? It is useless, is it not? But that 4/5 of nitrogen is very important because nitrogen has a one unusual property. In liquid nitrogen, anything can remain like this for thousands of years. It doesn't go through any decomposition. Oxygen causes decomposition, is it not? Decomposition looks a negative word. Whenever there is a D, it's a negative, is it not? But that is very important that things should decompose. So when I eat food, all that chemistry must happen, is it not? So without elaborating that cyclic process, what I am trying to say is we have a particular cycle in which certain things play certain role and certain things play balancing role, is it not? And certain things are absolutely unwanted. Like something is poison for me, but that could be the food for another species. They have a very different cycle. Herbivores have a cycle like ours, is it not? But carnivores has a very different cycle. And snakes and bats may have different cycle. For us, there is something very dangerous virus. But that same virus within their cycle maybe is a far part of that cycle. Are you getting me? So there is nothing bad in this world except that everything has its rightful place. If you disturb that, you are causing a very great harm, is it not? So what probably has happened, this bunch of super carnivores, if I could call them, they have done something mischievous and that has brought something which we call coronavirus number 2019, whatever it is different from SARS and the previous coronavirus. But we have had some previously also. So this has been a recurring lessons always. 10 years later, it comes again. People forget all this. At that time, it was swine flu, some bird flu, and now it is some other kind of Wuhan flu or whatever you call it. So carnivores have introduced in the human system a thing that was not supposed to be in this. And these things Like there is a lot of bacteria in my body, is it not? Bacteria are part of my system, you know. And many bacteria don't cause any harm to us, is it not? They enter into the body, they multiply, they go away. All this is part of the system. Indeed, the digestion system means multiplication of bacteria, is it not? So all this is complex things. I don't know much about it. This is not my specialization. But what I understand with my limited knowledge, that something from a different cycle has somehow entered into a human cycle. And then it is causing havoc. Now the question in this context of law of karma is that mischief has been done by certain people in certain countries. Now why the whole humanity is suffering? This is another aspect of law of karma. That the action, mischievous action has been done wrong by X. But why Y is suffering? Is it not? But if you look at in your household, say my son is not well today. He was eating something wrong somewhere or did some overeating and he has taken ill and he is in pain and suffering. But his mother and father, his brother, sister, they are also in pain, is it not? If one family member is in suffering, others are also. So this is what interconnectivity is all about. As such, that my particular son did something wrong, but he is getting the pain reward, but we are also getting the rewards because this is one family, is it not? We also have some role in it. I probably did not educate my son properly, is it not? I did not discipline him properly. So we all are suffering because of one family member's wrongful action. Now, indeed, the entire humanity is one family. All of us are interconnected. And come to think of it, we also have a role to play. Like today, you know, I am thinking, look, Vedic principles are nice, this and that. So let me convey it to some people. I could have said, why the hell I should bother? My Houston gives me a salary. Whether I conduct this class or not, is it not? I could have done without this session, is it not? But still I say no, because this is our human nature. Not only nature, this is our human duty. That whatever is excess of me, I should give it to you. And whatever is excess in you, you should give it to me. That's how the whole society functions. That's what a plumber does to me. I can do something to. If nothing else, if he's not interested in Vedic knowledge, I give him money. Is it not? That money I got from here. So actually, everything is cyclic, is it not? And we are all trying to take away others' pain. That's how our professions are there. Everybody, a plumber, electrician, if you ask him, everybody's legitimate profession is finally guided to diminishing pain and suffering of others, is it not? And that is what the human society. Those who cause pain to others are bad quality. We have discussed all that. Now, here the question is seemingly action has been taken wrongfully by far away, somebody else, thousands of kilometers away. But then why are we suffering? The answer to this is just like in a village, say there is a water pond and it's filthy, and you keep your house very clean, but due to that water pond, mosquitoes are breeding, then those mosquitoes will enter into everybody's house, even into a clean house. Now you may say, I am keeping my house clean, but why do mosquitoes come into my house? Then I think the answer to that is, well, you have a duty towards your community also. You have not only keep your house clean, your village streets, your water pond, all that should be clean. Otherwise, that situation will be causing some effects on you also, is it not? So we are all interconnected. You can see within a family, within a village, but we are short-sighted. We don't see that huge world as such. Of course, we know Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and all these nice words, But that is literally true, that the whole world is now global village, and that's what we are seeing, that what has happened in one small community has gone out of control. And of course, people are traveling. Today is we are in a technologically very advanced world, fast travels, etc. But we have a responsibility. Is it not our responsibility to educate others what their natural food is? And first is at the level of carnivores, there should be less. And then we should also be trying to say that such super carnivores are really no for us, and hopefully. Now, one Chinese city has taken a decision that they have closed such markets, but of course, it has to go to all universities. Did I hear another question? Hello, can you unmute yourself? Then, or you can write here on the right side and chat box. Any question? Probably it was not mute and somebody uttered some words. So anyway, the time is coming to its end, very close to 9 p.m. Thank you all for joining me for this session, and see you again. Is there a question? Namaste.
Namaste, Acharya. Namaste.
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 Okay. So you are welcome to this session. We come every Monday, 8 p.m. Houston time. And also there is a similar session Friday morning, 11 a.m. And that link is different. And but if you got this link, you probably have the other link also. So from this week on, we are adding on. I have not sent out a note, but I will be sending it out tomorrow. From this week, we are doing a brief meditation session Friday morning, 10:30, 20 minutes meditation session, just before the question answer session. So 10:30, there will be meditation. What I keep talking about, Patanjali's philosophy of Yoga Darshan and Kapil's Sankhya. So based on that, very authentic, very efficient. I'm very proud of that thing. And 10:30 is meditation. Then 11 a.m. is similar question answer. Thank you again for joining me.
Thank you for a great session. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Very grateful, Acharya ji. Thank you so much.
See you again.
Well,
Namaste. Namaste.